Put it on your Facebook page. Send it to your mama. Text it to somebody. But y'all make sure y'all follow this page. Retro Philosophy.
What's up, good peoples? It's your boy Retro. Um, Hopping on to holler at you for a minute. Oh boy, I probably should have just done all of this first. Um, but anyway, today we want to discuss riding in the rain. I guess I suppose. I have this saying: the weather doesn't dictate whether or not we ride, but the gear we wear when we ride. If you can hear me, uh, let me know in the comment section real quick. Let me check something here. Bada boom, bada bang. And you should be able to hear me, I imagine. Let me double check this here. Bada boom, bada bang. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, you know what? Hold on, guys. Let me check this real quick. We'll do it this way. And so, yeah, you guys should be able to hear me loud and clear. So let me go ahead and throw my gloves on, crank this baby up, and get on down. And this rain is not, it's not slowing. Ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, let's make some noise for my man 55 grand. Maxwell in the building, aka Two Willing It, watching from YouTube. God bless you, brother, man. Good to see you on this morning. Hope the family is doing well. Um, Meso Young, what's going on, brother? Thank you guys so much for letting me know. Um, he says, "Good morning, my brother. Keep pressing." Yes, sir. Meso, I got some footage, brother. I came across this morning, as a matter of fact. Um, I had intended to hit the studio and do a live show, but time got away from me, and I got a new. Well, I don't have a new assignment, but I've had an assignment that's been rearranged. All right, are we back? Sound is the sound back, ladies and gentlemen? Maxwell, let me know if the sound has come back. I was afraid that might happen. What happened was when I turned the bike on, it wanted to connect to the motorcycle's, to the bike's Bluetooth. And okay, so can't hear me. All right, let me fix that. Let me fix that. Okay, Mason. So it's back now. You can hear me now. Okay, perfect. Okay, good deal. Good deal. All right. So that's what happened. So I just had to disconnect that. So let me clear this off the screen and talk to you guys. So the weather doesn't dictate whether or not we ride, but the gear we wear when we ride. Okay. Your gear is extremely important for more reasons than just keeping you dry when it's wet, keeping you warm when it's cold, and there's not much gear to keep you cool. They've got cooling vests, and then you have clothing that's made out of. That felt real weird. There's clothing that's made out of material that allows you to breathe a little bit more, and then when it gets wet, it can work. It's not going to necessarily cool you down, but in other words, I was just sharing with somebody this gear that I'm wearing today. When it's really hot outside, it's gonna make you hot. There are zippers so it can breathe and air can flow through. Um, so in the summertime and when it's real hot and I got this type of gear on, the clothing or the underlayer that I wear is extremely important. Okay. Um, when you sweat, and in the summertime on a motorcycle, it's inevitable. You gonna sweat. If you don't want to sweat, then go get you a Miata with a nice AC system and turn it on full blast. And. But if you don't, if you on a motorcycle in the summertime, you gonna sweat, okay? Because like I said, there's no cooling gear with the exception of a cooling vest, and that's subpar at best. Um, but anyway, when I got this gear on in the summertime, I usually have on like a shirt so that once I sweat and then the breeze comes through the vents and hits that sweat on the shirt, it if you feel it, it feels cool. And when your body sweats, that's your body's way of trying to cool you down anyway. Um, so anyway, the proper gear for the proper ride is essential, ladies and gentlemen, because if you don't have the proper gear on, it can make for a miserable ride. Um, for me, when I'm riding, and I ride a few, I ride a little bit, and when I ride, especially as it relates to the wintertime, because believe it or not, um, my bike is my gym. Okay, he says he's gonna lose weight when he rides, and hey, the only thing you have to do is you have to make sure that you do what, Meso? Because hey, if that's your plan, then that's your plan. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, on your bike you're gonna sweat, and you got to make sure you hydrate though. That's the point that I'm making. So shout out to Meso. Um, but when we ride in summertime, we want to make sure we hydrate. Dehydration is a thing, and usually by the time you start noticing the signs of dehydration, you are probably already dehydrated. Um, so hydrate, hydrate, and then hydrate. I saw Chantel Williams. I think it's her last name. Um, she's got the Shut Up and Ride podcast. Um, I saw her. I saw a couple other YouTubers doing it as well, but she had a bag of ice that she put in her windshield of her motorcycle, and so as she was riding, that the wind hitting the ice, and then so I thought that was pretty cool. Uh, and so there are many people who have tried many different things to try to stay cool while they ride, and to each his own. If it works for you, it works for you, and I ain't mad at you. They say necessity is the mother of invention, and so sometimes we find ourselves in situations um, that will breed invention. Okay, so careful how you complain about your situation. You may be in that situation, and God is trying to pull something out of you. So just think and figure out a way to resolve it. So anyway, for me, when I'm riding in the wintertime, and believe it or not, I probably get as much miles in the winter, if not more, than I do in the summer. and that says a lot because here in the Carolinas, our summer months are longer than our winter months. Um, but when I'm comfortable, I can ride more. And when it's 98 degrees, ain't but so much you can do as far as to get comfortable. Because hot is just hot, as cold is cold. But with that said and done, there's way more gear to warm you up than there is gear to cool you down. So in the wintertime, I got a heated seat, not on the Gold Wing yet, but on the Road Glide, I've got a heated seat, heated grips. I've got heated grips on the Gold Wing as well, um, and so there's all kind of heated gear. Heated gloves, heated vest, heated jacket, heated pants, heated socks, heated soles. What else they got that's heated, guys? Pretty much, you name it, they got it. What I do enjoy in the wintertime are my handlebar mittens or whatever. I guess that's what I'm calling them. They're like they're like gloves for your handlebars. It covers your whole hard gear thing there, your clutch and your brake and all that stuff. And when I wear that thing, I can't even turn my heated grips on when I put them things on. They work extremely well, and so that was definitely a good investment. Now, when I'm riding in the wintertime and I'm comfortable, then I can ride longer. But for me, once my feet and my hands get cold, it's pretty much a wrap after that. It's pretty much a wrap after that, man. So so again, that's the importance of the proper gear. It will literally um, not only enhance but expand your riding season. Now, again, in the summertime, outside of some, you know, bootleg ingenuity, I don't know what you're gonna do to cool off because they don't make an AC suit, not that I know of. But then the rain, like now, I've got on a pair of I forget what they, but they're pretty. Um, they're decent. Matter of fact, they swagalicious. They're burgundy. I like these boots. They're waterproof. Uh, Good pair of boots, man. Good pair of boots. And they do not have zippers, and they do not have laces. Now I've got a pair of boots that claim to be waterproof boots, but they have laces. Waterproof are you gonna be when you got holes? So they will resist water. I guess technically they're water resistant, water, but they're not waterproof. Um, bruh, get the right gear. With the right gear, I believe it also will enhance your not just your confidence level, your component. It is now. You can be overconfident, and that'll work against you. But I'm a very confident, uh, experienced on the road on my motorcycle. But then outside of that, I practice. I take time to strategically and intentionally ride in certain conditions. Okay, I'm not going to hop up and ride across country in a torrential downpour if I've never rode in the rain before, right? So again, the weather doesn't dictate whether or not we ride, but the gear we wear when we ride. So now it's raining, right? And let's just say I ain't got far to go at all. I'm just going, across town or whatever. Proper, where to and I'm point is and I'm go on an extreme trip in the rain. There are some people they say, hey, if it's rain, leave the house. They ain't leaving the house, and I get it, you know. But most of that decision is because they're not comfortable riding in the rain. I'm comfortable riding in the rain. It's not what I would prefer, but if I got to do it, I can do it without being on edge. I'm a little bit more cautious in my curves. I'm paying a little bit more attention to the road. You should always pay attention to the road, but what I'm saying is, uh, you know, when I'm riding in the rain like I am right now, and I see the slightest glare, I'm very careful because what looks like a glare could be a puddle of water that could rob my traction, that can cause me to hydroplane. So I ride dark side, both on the road glide and the wing. For those of you who do not know, and so I have a cart rear of this motorcycle, which gives you more traction, and especially in the water, in the rain. So I'm able to get out here and ride my bike with a level of confidence that I can get to where I'm going and get back safe. Um, I'm not miserable in terms of my comfort level because I'm soaking wet. I'm bone dry right now, and I'm comfortable. I got a couple of zippers open, so I'm getting the breeze that I need to keep me nice and cool. And other leave, then it ain't happening. It wasn't like it was any major snow. Some heavy flurries at best. Um, but that's a whole different beast. Rain is one thing. Your tires are, depending on what kind of tires you got. But no, all tires are made like that. It's not just for traction, but it also allows the water to, move out of the way. But when it comes to snow, snow is slippery, and that's another ball game. I don't like to play around with stuff. The rain. If I can help it, I'm not in when it's raining and I'm just if I but I'm not. So if I'm getting ready to take a trip and it's 20 degrees out and it's raining before I leave the house, then chances are I might not leave the house. What or whatever. And so I don't. Yeah, I ain't trying to deal with all that stuff right there. But a day like this, it's a beautiful day. Well, it ain't a beautiful day. It's beautiful in terms of I woke up and I woke up on the wake up list. It's beautiful in the sense that I still have the be a whole lot, on this, and then if I drop it, I mean, you should be 55. I got pulled over one time. I was in the car, um, and cop pulls me over. I had a car full of kids, a car full of young folks, and they pulled me fish on. It was in the wintertime, and it was snowing out that day. And I said, "But sir, I wasn't speeding." He said, "Yeah, but for the conditions, you were going too fast for the conditions." And I was like, "Wow." So the point is, even though the speed limit right here where I'm at in Cleveland, I'm cutting through Cleveland, North Carolina now, and the speed limit just read 50 miles per hour. And so a police officer for doing 50 in a, if the conditions dictate or the conditions require a slower speed. So we've always got to take the condition into consideration. That'll preach, y'all. Somebody should have caught that. You know, so and so can do it, but my condition and my situation is different than so and so. So I do because their situation and mine ain't the same. Come on, somebody. But anyway, the more you ride in the rain, the less it becomes an issue to ride in the rain. Again, it may not be your choice, but it's not something that has to necessarily deter you either. So the moral to the story, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, is to get out and practice. And riding in the rain, if you're riding in the rain, uh, then don't ride in the rain. And on a rainy day like today, go find a parking lot and just ride around the parking lot. Start there. And I'm just saying, there's a saying, Theodore Roosevelt maybe, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And sometimes we are more afraid of the thought of a thing than the reality of the thing. So this goes for everybody. Get out and practice. Whatever it is that you do, practice it. Practice it under conditions that aren't as favorable. You know, you say you're a great singer, but you're only as great as your backup musicians. So if you are a singer, then you shouldn't always rely on musicians. You should practice singing when you got no music. Yeah, I'm saying if you're a biker and you only ride when it's 78 degrees and between 75 and 85, then you ain't a real biker. I'm just saying. Just like that, even with the heat, you're like, man, but how can you practice in the heat? Easy. It's 90 degrees out, 95 degrees. Normally, you don't ride in 95-degree weather. Well, you got a ride coming up that's going to take you cross country, and you know that once you hit Phoenix or other areas that you can Vegas and all them areas, you know it's going to be what 100 plus. I was coming through Vegas in September. I think it was the end of September, beginning of October, and it was 112 degrees. And if I'm the kind of rider that only rides when it's 75 degrees, guess what? That's only going to take me out. So, you got to practice. You get out there before you go cross country. It's a scorcher today, and normally you wouldn't ride because it's so hot. Go around the block. See what the bike does. See what your body does. See what your mind does. You got to practice, folks. Anything that you do, you should be practicing it. I made mention a little while ago about confidence and how it's a major factor. Um, and some of us, we are overconfident and underskilled. hmm So we need to. Oh, that's another thing I don't play with, guys. I don't play with lightning. I got caught in a storm doing the Florida Four Corners probably a couple years ago. Caught in a hurricane storm. I forget which hurricane it was, the name of it. Boy, I mean to tell you, the windows of heaven opened up and dropped down some rain like I ain't seen before. And but the bike was performing well. It wasn't the first time I had been in bad rain like that, so I was good to maneuver. And like I said, the bike was performing. Except the hand of God was with me that day. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't even gonna try to take credit. God was with me that day because that bike it was just straight as an arrow, bro. And I did have that car tire on the back, and I do believe that makes a difference. But that bike was performing tip top. And then next thing you know, I started hearing all this thunder. I said, "Oh Lord!" Then you hear this crackling thunder, and the lightning started flashing. Whee! Yes, sir. And I'm sitting here riding on this big hunk of metal, and you think I'm gonna play with lightning, bruh? Let me tell you. I said, "All right, that's it. That's a wrap." It wasn't the rain. It wasn't the temperature. Nah, it was the threat of that lightning touching my skin. Caused me to sit that one out. I pulled over quick, fast, found me a Waffle House. As a matter of fact, I was in some part of, where was I at? I know my man came to check me out. I hit him up, and he pulled up on me, and we sat there and we kicked it for a good little minute. My man Brandon Howe, shout out to Brandon Howe in the building. You already know what it is. Cool young man right there. All right, folks, man, I'm going to get out y'all's way. I just want to hop on and say hello. Remember, the weather doesn't dictate whether or not you ride, but the gear you wear when you ride. If you find yourself going through some things in life, then you need to ask yourself, do you have the proper gear for what it is that you're going through? And if the answer to that is I don't know, or the answer to that is no, then you need to invest and you need to, you need to invest, but you need to investigate so that you can invest in the proper tools and gear so that the next time you get caught in that situation, you'll be able to maneuver. Hey, let me tell you, contrary to popular beliefs, life is about second chances. You might have failed the first time, but God has given you a second chance. Oh, let me scratch that. God has given you another chance. If I say second chance, it denotes that, it was the one after the first one. And many of us, we've already exhausted the second chance a long time ago. Like myself, I know I have. So I praise God. I thank God. I appreciate God for allowing me to have another chance. Don't worry about how many I'm on. Mind your business. Just mind your business. All right? Just know that life is about second chances. Life will give you an opportunity to right the wrong. Life will give you an opportunity to do better the next time. So don't let what you did the first time make you think you're disqualified from doing better the second time or the third time, or as I said, the next time. Hey, we got a few things coming up. Of course, I'm on the bike. I can't pop them up on the screen. Excuse me, on the screen. But we've got a marriage enrichment session that will be taking place the end of this month, the 30th. If you want information on that, make sure you check out my Facebook page. I've posted it there several times. Make sure you go over to What's Love on Facebook as well. That is a group that has been in existence for a few years now, several years now. Uh, and join that group. We'll be sharing details and information about the upcoming marriage enrichment session there. Make sure you tag your friends. That way they can come out and be a part of the whole session as well. I do believe there will be a lot of information here to help you and your spouse. And I also believe that you will be able to be a blessing to help someone else as well. Nobody knows everything, but everybody knows something. And the reality is, even from our bad experiences, we can offer insight, wisdom, and knowledge. Uh, so come on out and be a part of this session on August the 30th, starting at 6 p.m., and it will be held at Upper Praise Ministries, 442 Westmore Avenue. Stay tuned to the Retro Philosophy Show. If you have not already subscribed, please do so. Go over to YouTube um, and subscribe. Then hit the like button. Then hit the share button. Then drop down in the comment section and say what's up. Okay?